was about to quip a joke when Chris was talking about I'd rather spend 2 weeks developing a script for something that takes me 15 seconds to do manually, right? Because that 15 seconds times 100 times 1,000 adds up.
Yeah.
So yes, could I do it easily? Sure. Could I do it with the UI? Sure. But I wanted to be able to do things faster within a command to do repeatable tasks.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest Liquidware Chats. On this edition, we are going to talk about Liquidware Sparks. And for that, I have Jack Smith and Chris Walker. So, guys, welcome. How are you guys doing?
Can't complain. Doing good.
Doing good. Yeah.
Okay, let's get started. Jack or Chris or both of you answer, what is a Liquidware Spark and why have we suddenly brought them out?
Brain idea. Formed by our SEs, customers, asking for just, hey, I wish your product could do this. And I don't have to go through QA, right? I don't have to do all this stuff. Basically, I proof it, get a couple people to test it, and then I give it to my customer. He tells me if it doesn't work, and we move on. That's just a quick way to get things out the door to help our customers out.
Funny enough, it's a formalization of something that Chris and I have been doing easily for 10 plus years. We've had utilities out on GitHub. We've had utilities up on our forums when we had forums. We've had utilities posted up on our KB article site. This is just a formalized central location where you can find those items. So this isn't technically new for our company, but the name Sparks and the official website, that part is new. But RSEs have been doing custom utilities or PowerShell scripts or any sorts of things for easily 10 plus years. We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. Okay. So Sparks is essentially just as you said, bringing it to the market essentially, and making it public. Whereas we've always kind of done these customizations to help our customers over the years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The customers didn't want it aware. Now they have, I need this. So they can go there and say, hey, Jack's built this and I can really use that. Whereas if I didn't remember when I was talking to my customer that Jack did that and have Jack email it to them, now it's a formal place to actually store this stuff and customers see what we've done out there.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And I suppose that given that we're working on these things, there's potential that we may implement some into the products over time.
Think of it as kind of like a real early alpha. We're able to kind of like beta test out ideas without a huge amount of support. It gets you over the hump right away. I mean, it's fully functional. And then if it's a hit, awesome. We build it into the product line. It makes sense. If it's kind of a flub, then maybe it wasn't as good of an idea, and it doesn't necessarily need to be in the product, or at least you still have it in a Spark form, but it isn't going to be like an official product line. So ideas that are popped up on Sparks or ideas that our customers give us that we're able to build and throw up on Sparks is a great test bed, right? It's what do they call it in the AI world now? Rapid prototyping. We're rapid prototyping ideas for the industry.
In the AI world, they just put out products and,
there you go.
Until see what sticks, essentially.
Well, that's kind of what Sparks are for the most part. I mean, it's rapid prototype of an application, albeit I don't think Chris's utilities were rapid prototype. I think he spent a lot of years building those. But rapid prototyping ideas and seeing what sticks with our customers so that we can go from prototype to product.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. So you mentioned Chris. So Chris, one of the first ones, we'll get to Jack's one in a minute, but is PowerTools for Stratusphere. So can you kind of tell us what is the purpose of PowerTools in relation to Stratusphere?
Well, I tell my customers that basically I'm lazy. So if I have to go through and click a bunch of buttons over and over and over every time, I'm going to write a program. I'm going to write a PowerShell script. I'm going to write something that will automate and make my life and their life easier. How do you look for a memory leak? You got to analyze a bunch of numbers and see how was this last week? How's it this week? How's the version number changed? I mean, that's 30 lines of code. So I wrote the code and pressed the button, and there's one more test for the PowerTools. But it really bore out of customers, the interface is not simple. And who can remember all the metrics? I mean, me and Jack do this stuff all day long, so we've got it memorized for 14 years. Our customers aren't like that. So I basically programmed it into the tool, and literally, even my highly advanced Stratusphere customers, they use it because they press that button. There's 150 tests run in just a couple seconds that they would have to go through and look at all that information, remember the rules and stuff like that. So it's kind of being lazy at the end of the day. Give me a button, I can press it.
Isn't that what most people in IT do? They automate things because they're lazy. They don't want. That's why they write code. That's why they write automations. It's the nature of working in IT. You want to automate things and make things easier.
Yeah. I mean, the PowerTools is going on 3 years now of development of that, and it's been very successful with a lot of my small and large customers. And Jack actually has a PowerTools as well, but it's PowerTools for ProU, which has been around for how long now, Jack?
12 years.
5? Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing PowerTools, so I kind of stole his name a little bit too.
Copyright infringement there, Jack.
Exactly.
Microsoft, man, I think they had PowerTools first.
Okay. Yeah. So the two of you are okay.
That's true. Yeah. But really, I think they bore out of. I know mine was, I need an 18-year-old kid to be able to sit on a help desk, take in your user ID, press go, and tell you that you have a Wi-Fi problem. That takes a while and a lot of training. And as we know, help desk people, they turn over a decent amount as well too. So if I can give them one button to press and come back and say you have a Wi-Fi problem, that makes that tool even more valuable. And yes, we are working to build a lot of that into Stratusphere. In fact, they've asked me to rework my PowerTools so it can actually run underneath the Stratusphere pod or hub. So I'm working on that. Don't know when that's going to make it out because I have to compile it instead of under Windows, under Linux, and that's becoming more and more of a challenge there. But the idea is hopefully these things make it into the product, and it makes the product simpler, stronger, and more usable for more people.
That makes sense. So Jack, Chris mentioned you've got PowerTools for ProU. Yeah. So what's the kind of purpose behind that, given that ProU has the full console? Is it that kind of simplification of just certain tasks?
It's actually the opposite. So don't get me wrong. The tasks that I'm trying to make through PowerShell are simple, right? It's click this button. Thing is, it's tedious. It's click this button 40 times, right? So like Chris was saying, it was bore out of I'm lazy and I didn't want to have to click 40 buttons to set a setting or disable an application or change a filter or import applications or whatever. So I started with basically 15 to 20-ish modules. I think I'm up to 28 now. So not a huge amount of things that I do regularly in the ProU interface, like create a filter. All right, but what if I have 300? Well, I don't want to have to click 300 times 5 clicks for all my filters. I want to fill out a CSV and then just have that CSV get ingested and make 300 filters, which I have got customers who made in one sitting about 850. And doing it by hand probably would have taken them several days. Doing it through PowerShell took them 15 minutes. So again, it's not that I'm trying to make it easier. I am, but I'm trying, it's more of a time savings thing than an easier. But the idea behind the PowerTools for ProfileUnity really is interacting with the web UI API directly so that I can programmatically put in items, edit items, change items in the ProU interface with far less clicks. So I was about to quip a joke when Chris was talking about, I'd rather spend 2 weeks developing a script for something that takes me 15 seconds to do manually, right? Because that 15 seconds times 100 times 1,000 adds up. Yeah. So yes, could I do it easily? Sure. Could I do it with the UI? Sure. But I wanted to be able to do things faster within a command to do repeatable tasks.
Yeah. And that's what the thing you were saying. It's about those repeatable tasks, and yes. Instead of having to press that button 500 times, you press it once, and that makes sense.
In fact, one of the power tools that I've had written up for almost 8 years now, which was backing up the ProfileUnity database and then
Mhm.
storing it somewhere, that actually is going to make it into the product in our next release.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
I'll leave the script up there, but I have a funny feeling it's going to decom because you're going to set, schedule how you want it backed up, put it out to the share where you want it backed up. Done. Which actually that's going to be easier than the PowerShell script because there was a little more involved with that. But yeah. So, as the popularity of said item becomes a thing, we build it in.
Yeah, no, that's good. And what you've shown there is obviously the progression of our of a Spark, which has gone, been tested, played with, and then
Mhm.
eventually we've adopted it into the product.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's the perfect example of how Sparks are going to be used now and into the future at Liquidware.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the idea.
And actually, the PowerTools stuff is being used to build our new AI interface, so that all the rules and programming and queries that I've built in PowerTools, the developers are taking that. So in our future version of Stratusphere, all that information will be built into an AI interface with those thresholds. So it's takes a while to build out, but now
Mm.
now they can basically suck that into an AI model in 2 seconds, and now AI can replace me in like 5 seconds. So
Not soon
yep.
enough, man.
Not soon enough. I agree. I agree. Yep. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, the technology is increasing phenomenally out there and light speeds. So these sparks are just really ideas that we can have in the field, prototype them real quick, get them to our customers, and then work with product development to hopefully merge them into the solutions as we move down the road.
Speaking of technology advancements, Jack, I know you've been
Yeah.
doing quite a bit of vibe coding.
Mhm. A bit, yes.
You're pushing Claude to its token limits.
I have done that on several occasions. Yes. Yes. Where it's like, hey, you've done enough for today. Why don't you take an 8 hour break? All right, I guess.
I
Yes.
thought AI didn't need a break. Yeah, you've broken it, Jack, already.
Yeah, Claude needed a break. I was pushing it too hard. But yeah.
So what has been the outcome of some of your vibe coding then? Is it which of is it the smart updater or
It's I actually been using it for a lot of the stuff I've been doing.
mm,
Just because my code construction is very basic, right? I'm not a developer. I don't
mhm.
plan on being a developer. Our developing team, when they saw my original Power Tools, I think my original Power Tools was maybe 200 lines total. The Power Tools 3.0 that I have up there is broken into 27 modules and is probably over 3,000 lines of code. So,
Wow.
or if not more. And the big difference, error catching, error reporting, if then statements. I mean, it
Documentation, Jack? Admin
documentation.
document?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Reverse engineering what I was thinking in my PowerShell scripts was interesting for our SEs to do. But yeah, it's more, more proper flow development. However, with that being said, vibe coding isn't just here's an idea, do it, and it works, right? It rarely works out of the gate. Actually, it rarely works out of the gate for the first 40 times you do something. So when I say, yeah, I got to spend a few days, that's a few days,
Mm,
like full days of run this, make this tweak, run the test, run this tweak, run the test, go, nope, that's not right, run this test. And eventually, in some of these cases, because the AIs don't know our API, I had to write the code by hand and say, do this, dummy. And it goes, oh, I get it now. And then writes it wrong about 5 times. And then eventually it gets there. So
so it's AI assisted coding as opposed to AI coding.
yes, it's very much AI assisted coding because there is no public documentation for the APIs. I have to feed it the information of this is how you manipulate the API. Do it in this way. This
Mm,
is an example of how the this particular function works. Do it this way, and then it goes, oh, I get it, and then fixes it.
mm,
Um, Same with all the other tool sets, like the Spark Smart Updater. That started as a command line utility. I've had that thing out there for 4 or 5 years now. And that started as a command line utility to just pull stuff from Chocolatey. That was born from just me going, I need to do demo apps and I don't want to package everything by hand. Enter, packages done. Okay, now I got demo apps up to date. And then it was, well, I want to replace the applications. I don't want to click 17 times. enter. It replaces all my apps with the latest versions. So
Mm.
a lot of these were just my own personal demo laziness, but I published them. Um, Here's the funny and ironic part about that. So there's a new GUI, Spark AI, right? Oh, GUI, very pretty. You can click on stuff. And within, I think, about 2 weeks, somebody sent a message to me and said, "Can I have a command line version of this?" Yeah, it's been out forever. You can have it today, So it's just kind of funny how, the command line wasn't good. I need a GUI. You make a GUI, they want a command line. I might do both in some
Mm.
cases. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So essentially, as you said, this is all about, you utilized AI to kind of assist you in coding the
Yeah.
application, but
Yeah.
like anything with AI, you needed to do a lot of the heavy lifting yourself.
So much testing to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to do right.
Mm.
A million errors fed back in the Claude. That's why you run out of your tokens so quickly, because it's like, no, you did this wrong. And it's like, oh, I know what I did wrong. And spits it back out. And you go, no, you still did it wrong. And then eventually, once it's done it wrong for like the 15th time, you're like, all right, fine, I'll manually fix it. Here, this is how
Mm.
I fixed it. Do it. And it goes, I see what you did. That's clever. Well, great. Thank you, Claude. But fix it right. Yeah. So no, AI is not perfect. Vibe coding, I think it's a bad rap because people, will vibe code an app and then just not test it, or they'll minimal test it and then throw it out there and go, good luck.
Yeah, no, I tried an experiment when I was waiting for a plane this year. I vibe coded an app in about 3 minutes. Now it looked pretty.
Yeah.
It kind of worked, but would I put it into production? No. But
All of
I was just playing around with it to see if I
yeah.
could actually vibe code something in a couple of minutes, and you absolutely can. Should you push it out anywhere? That's no. It's just for
Not
playing with. But I
yeah.
suppose the thing is that it just accelerates the entire prototyping process, because you can literally
Yes.
go from idea to solution in a very short space of time.
Yeah. Yeah. It supplements parts that I don't know with
Mm,
parts that I do, but
mm,
ultimately at the end of the day, because all these sparks that I've written, they're all done in PowerShell. I mean, you
yeah.
can go and
And
look at
you
the
need to
code,
test. Yeah.
but
Was
yeah,
it
you do need to test. That's a big one.
Jack? Wasn't it one of your customers a couple months ago, or maybe over the summer? He asked Claude, "How do I do this?" It gave him a PowerShell command and brought his entire environment down. Is that one of your customers? That
No,
sounds
my
like one of
customers
your
never
customers.
do that. No, no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He tested
I
it in
would
production. Yeah, just
not
don't
be
do that.
surprised. We've got really good engineers, and then we got folks that like to throw caution to the wind. So, either way. And I know traditionally in the past, I was more of a caution to the wind, but I don't do that nearly as much as I used to.
Yeah, so that's a
Yeah.
that's actually a good point. Most of the Spark, or actually all the Sparks that we put out there on this page, we have tested. So they've gone a
Yes.
little bit through our QA. I actually have to document my code into a code repository because it is actually Liquidware property, even though I developed it. So it does go through a QA process. I actually send my code or my new versions out to like 4 or 5 of my big customers, and they test it for me as well. But internally, we scan it, we make sure. So anything we post onto that site, we can't really support it, but at the end of the day, we do some due diligence in the testing before we publish it, even if it's written by a customer. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, we do try to do some QA on it.
Yeah, yeah, which obviously makes sense because it's not full production ready code.
Yep.
So that makes sense that we do a kind of a cursory overview. I suppose
Hmm.
one of the things that we do as well is if people are looking to kind of ask us questions about the Sparks program, we do have on community or a whole dedicated channel where you can ask questions, post your Sparks, or there's a Sparks email address as well, isn't there? Yeah,
Yeah.
Spark tools at liquidware.com. Then all the SEs get a copy of that. Yep.
there we go. And for some reason, I get a copy of it.
Got to be
Anybody,
informed.
there's an email. It's basically an alias to one of our
Yeah, yeah,
bigger
it's an alias,
distributions.
but no, it's good, and we have had customers and partners and community people send us some already, and so it's going to be interesting to see what people come up with. Have either of you anything else in the works or that are coming
Jack
soon?
has a list I'm sure he's doing, and I'm doing an anonymizer. So I'm actually going to be able to take Stratusphere and ProU data and logs, anonymize it so that you can send it to ChatGTP without your full information. Then it comes back, it unanonymizes it. So I think it will help with support for like some of our military customers. They can anonymize the logs. They can
Mm.
anonymize any of our IP addresses, DNS names, all that stuff. Drop it in ChatGTP. Therefore, you're not exposing your real information until it's available in the product, hopefully later next year. But I know Jack's got a huge list of stuff that he's working on.
I've got a list of things. Yeah. Probably the next one I might put out, I'm still sort of tinkering with, is a FlexApp conflict analyzer,
Mm.
where I can scan the output of my FlexApp. So it's kind of like a two-parter. One, there's a part where I just have to harvest the data out of the FlexApps, and basically what that does is it mounts the VHD, cracks open the volume, reads the cap, which is basically our instruction set, does a file scan against all the files that are within the Flex app itself. So basically, I see every folder, every file, I see every registry key value that is inside of that Flex app. That outputs into text files. One's a DMP text file, one's just a simple TXT file. And then I can utilize text tools to look through those if I want to do this manually. Or I built another PowerShell GUI thing, which scans all of the applications in my environment. You check which ones that you are going to combine together. And what it does is it looks for overlaps between the applications. So that helps identify things that our support would call dirty apps. What is a dirty app, right? It means a lot of things. So being able to find or identify overlaps that could cause micro isolation to kick in between applications, being able to identify things that may have inadvertently made their way into the application, like antivirus or policy type items, being able to see if any modern applications accidentally got installed, because that does happen from time to time, where the start menu will get updated and just swept up into the application. Does happen occasionally. It'll look for those types of things. So it looks for kind of like the most common problematic things that an application could accidentally consume and identifies it for you in a list. And it has a high, low, medium priority, and you can adjust the rules to however you like, and do custom stuff, turn off different items. You can even choose to say, all right, 2 overlaps are fine. I'm going to see that. That's pretty common. 3 overlaps are a problem. 4 overlaps are a problem. So you can make adjustments on those types of things and look for that. So I'm trying to, in essence, build utilities to make the packaging process, the review of application packaging, the conflicts of the packaging, and hopefully ultimately the performance information that comes out of the package. Um, I've got some ideas around how to look at the application playback itself to identify what parts of the playback are causing the most pain. So maybe I can clean up some of those parts or make optimizations around those parts. Um, I spend a lot of time in apps. Let's go with that. A whole bunch of
Yeah, I'd say that's probably
times.
a number one support issue. My app won't load, and it's always a conflict or a dirty
My app
packaging
won't
machine.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest ones, and I mean that I think is going to be extremely valuable to our customer base.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe like go into a little more detail about the launch tester Spark.
Yeah. That one's actually very simple. The idea behind the launch tester is, again, it's kind of like the conflict analyzer a little bit, in that it lists all of, it scans, it lists all your applications that you have. You select which applications you want to test. And really all that is meant to do is you go onto a standard workstation. So you don't go onto your test box that doesn't, that's not on domain. You go on the box that has your AV and your security, and, you're on the domain, that normal workstation, right? And then you open up PowerShell and you run the script, and the script is actually output in the GUI, copy it in the clipboard and paste it into there. I made sure to make the script written in such a way that it works in restricted mode, because again, PowerShell. So there are
Yep.
certain elements within PowerShell that you cannot do when it's in restricted mode. So I made sure to run that. I have App Locker in my environment. I have Defender with ATP turned on. I put the not the full
so
security
it's
stack.
it's as if you're running it in a full
Yes.
corporate environment that's locked
Yep.
down and it can be
Yep.
running on an end user system.
Correct. Yeah. And really what you do is you log in with like a blank config, right? I don't want you to load your profiles. I mean, you could, but I tend to not do that. And then you just, again, you take the command line that's output, you hit paste, and what it does is systematically mount the application, start to take a recording, takes a screenshot of the application launch within it. So it isn't just launching the Flex app, it's attaching the Flex app and then launching the app within the Flex app. So I can attach Chrome, but unless I launch Chrome, I don't know if Chrome ran.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm kind of doing an additional step of, yes, the application did present. Yes, the application that is being captured or played back into the operating system did launch, at least initial launch testing. Now, if you need to go deeper into that, that's a whole different thing. That's where things like AutoIt or LogVSI come in handy, where they can launch items within an application that's been launched. But I haven't taken it that far. For me, it's just initial launch testing. Did the app launch? Yep. Do I have a recording or screenshot of it? Yep. It was, in the screenshot, is there an error? Yep. Tick.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah, yeah. And then maybe go to user validation testing, or just go, yeah, it's good enough. It's Chrome. It's probably not going to break. If it launched, it launched. It's fine.
Yeah,
So
I remember back in the day when I used to do application packaging, you'd be like, oh, it launches, and then it just something went wrong, some
yeah,
dialogue box or something that you didn't quite capture or something. It just comes up with some error message. You're like, great.
a lot of times it's going to be it launched. Yes. Did the license mechanism function?
That was, yes, the licensing function
that.
was like one of the worst ones. I think it was a piece of accounting software or something I had massive issues with trying to package it and get it to work in a Citrix environment. And the licensing every time was like, oh, application launched. And I'm like giving myself a thumbs up, and then straight away, no, licensing error, license not found, blah blah.
Yep. That is the
You have to
most
go
common problem with Flex apps is licensing. And customers ask me all the time, don't you guys have a way around it? I'm like, we're not in the business of cracking software for you. So no, we don't have a way around it. You're gonna have to talk to the manufacturer to see if they have a floating token model like Microsoft with the share token activation or share compute activation, or like Adobe that has the serialization on Adobe Reader or Reader Pro or Writer Pro. So if the license itself can be floated, sure, we can make that work. But if it's locked to X amount of workstations or does a fingerprint of the workstation when it registers the license, that's
requires a
not
physical dongle.
Yeah, that typically don't see a lot of that anymore. But
no, I know. I'm talking quite a while ago, but I do remember like one thing, and it was like you had a physical dongle which was in the host that the Citrix license servers were generated off.
Yeah, a lot of engineering software had that.
Yes.
Tons of it. Yeah, they do that a lot less, but it really is a matter of, well, why didn't my licenses work? You're going to have to talk to the manufacturer that wrote that software as to why the license doesn't work. I may give you some ideas. I may be able to point you in the right direction. Sometimes it's, I have to install the license service in the image, and then the rest of the application doesn't need to be. There's ways to kind of not get around, but sort of supplement an issue within the licensing software, because again, I'm capturing each item individually. We're getting no Flex app thing here, but each app individually, I'm installing license for app 1, app 2, app 3, app 4. It might be the same license service for all 4 of them, right? So I may want to just say all 4 of them get the same license services. I'm going to bake that in. Call that a day. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Now, do I write utilities to make that easier? No, because a lot of manufacturers have very weird licensing. So.
Well, it varies so much, doesn't it? It's like there isn't one, there's not one type of licensing.
For engineering software, a local company here to Chicago did a really good job, Flexera. Congratulations, Flexera. You own the engineering software industry when it comes to licensing. Tableau also uses Flexera. So the Flexera licensing is one thing. There's another one from like Bear Innovation or something like that. It's very similar to Flexera, but Flexera, seriously, they own every engineering piece of software is a Flexera license. And those are easy to work with. They actually, Flexera has made it a ton easier to make them function in the most recent years.
It's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what do you guys think is the next evolution of Sparks, or where does it go from here?
More and more tools, and hopefully get some of the things built into our solutions. And some of the customers are like, hey, can I get this supported? Because I need to, digitally signed and things like that to actually run in my environment. The biggest thing that I'd say that Jack's got over my system is that he's got dark mode, and I don't have dark mode of the PowerTools, and people really beat me up about that. Yep.
And Chris, you need dark mode. Come
Gotta
on.
have dark
It's
mode. Yeah.
2025, nearly 2026. You need dark mode. I don't do anything outside of dark mode. Every
Yep.
computer screen I have is on dark mode. It's like I
Biggest
don't
feature
want to be
request for the
blinded.
PowerTools. Yep. Biggest feature request for the PowerTools is dark mode. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
just
my
dark mode
Lord,
already.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh wow. But now I
Come
see the Spark
on.
tools growing. I see our customers getting engaged and not only asking for more, but possibly said, hey, I wrote this several years ago. Take a look at it. So I see a lot of customers wanting to participate in that.
The advent of most Spark functions or utilities or things like that are born of either our necessity as SEs, things that we do on a regular basis that maybe customers don't, but then when they do, they're like, oh, thanks. Or we listen to our customers. They're like, man, it'd be cool if you had XYZ. And we're like, yeah, I would. Let me see if I can write something up, within the next week or so to complement or supplement that. If you guys think it has some merit or value, we can add it to our roadmap and at some point get it in the product line in the future. But here's something that you can use today, right now, to do that
Yeah,
job.
like the SQL runner that I have up there. Customers like, I really don't run PG admin. I don't want to have to load my dev tools just to run a SQL call. So I wrote a little executable. It's like 200 kilobytes that can run direct SQL calls against Stratusphere. So it for the people that don't understand SQL or PG admin, all that stuff, they just do a command line option, point at the SQL file, and say go. It's that simple. Yep. The really simplification of our work out there, and again, just being a little bit lazy.
Yeah. That's what they say. Makes if you're lazy, you'll come up with a way to make something simpler or easier or less clicks, all of that kind of stuff. So,
yep,
cool. What I tell my kids.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what I tell my kids. If you're not coming up with ideas, you're not bored enough.
I must use that one because I get I'm bored a lot. So
yeah,
anyway,
you're not bored enough yet to come up with an idea.
There we go. Jack and Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. If you want to check out Sparks, you can go to our website. There is a section dedicated under resources. Also, you can join via the link, which will be in the description and the notes, to join our community where we have a dedicated Sparks section. So thanks, Jack and Chris, and we will see you on the next episode.
Have a good day.
All right.
Thanks.